Hey y'all, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel, and this is my January mid-month wrap-up. So, for the month of January, I've read several books. Hey girl, hey. It's been a crazy month trying to get back in the swing of things, but I did participate in Holly and Oshina's Read in the New Year, Readathon, the first week of the year, and I loved participating in that. They had some Instagram photo prompts. I really wanted to do a vlog for that, but it just didn't happen. Such a busy week trying to get back in the swing of things, but I did participate a lot on Instagram. I filled every prompt, I think. We'll see how I did here in just a minute, but I'm going to talk to you about the books that I read for the Readathon, just go through it in a checklist, and then we'll talk about like the book reviews and stuff. But thank you, Holly and Oshina, for doing this. It's one that I look forward to each year. I participated last year before I had a channel. I didn't get a whole lot of reading done during that last one, but this time was a success. So let's see how I did. Okay, so the first prompt, which these were all like based off of your typical New Year's resolutions. So lose weight, a book under 250 pages. There were several books I read under 250 pages. The one I was going for was You and Me by Becky Wade. This is a novella in the Misty River romance series. I don't think I finished this. Yeah, I did not finish this in the week of the Readathon. So I wrote that on here, but it didn't get finished. So instead, we can count these two, okay? So the first one was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Hey, look at me achieving some goals, y'all. I mean, who am I? I mean, I said I was going to read the Narnia series this year, and I'm starting off strong. So, yeah, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And then Christmas and Winter Hill. I read this the first day of the year. I did an audiobook. I actually really enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars. I'll talk about it later. So I'm going to try not to talk about these as I go along. It's so hard. The next prompt was Eat Healthy, where food is a major part in the story. And I did finish this one, and that was Live and Let Chai by Brie Baker. Really liked this one. Can't wait to tell you all about it. And the third prompt was Drink More Water, water on the cover and the title. And this one, again, water on the cover. You already see, we are here on the beach, okay? So that one counted for that. 4 was Social Media Detox, a book set in the past. And so I counted Narnia for that, because this was set, I looked it up, it was 1940. 5 was Make a New Friend, which was a new to you author. I kind of stretched this one a little bit, because technically this is the same lady who writes under pen names like Julianne Lindsay, and I want to say Jacqueline Frost. I've read both of those authors' names. Oh, this is the same lady, Brie Baker, so that's a stretch. But I've never read a Brie Baker. What I can say is I buddy read Winter Brides with Amy at Pretty Little Paperbacks. And this is a novella collection. And I have read a Denise Hunter and a Betsy St. Amant. But Deborah Rainey was a new to me author. We loved that, okay? I can't wait to tell you all about these, okay? Like, we loved her. I mean, I've been sleeping on Deborah Rainey, okay? I've never even heard of her, and here I am, like, reading a novella, and it was so good. So, hey, that's a preview on that. Anyway, keep going, Amanda, keep going. So, number 6 was Exercise More, and that was a book in a series. So, I had several that were, like, in a series. Winter Brides is technically like a brides novella collection series. They've got these published individually, but they also have 4 books like winter for each season, fall, spring, summer, brides. It has 3 in each book, just like this. So yeah, I would love to read more of these because it's really cool to kind of see how you might like an author's writing style just from reading a novella. A manga series that I was reading this month, of course, I read several of those. Perfect World. I've talked a little bit about that already in my vlog that y'all saw, but that was definitely in a series. And then Narnia, of course, is a series. And Live and Let Chai is a series. So, hey, series we love, right? The last prompt was Save Money, a book you didn't pay for. And I counted the Perfect World manga books. I didn't even think about it, but I borrowed every one of them from the library on ebook. So, hey, we'd love to see it too. So that is how I did for the Readathon. Thank you so much, ladies, for just creating that and hosting that and all the prompts and the great graphics and the Instagram stuff. So much fun. I had a lot of fun doing that. And so now we're going to get into the books. So for this wrap up, I'm going to go in a little bit of a different order here. I don't know what I'm doing, but I really want to talk about my favorite book of the month so far, and that is The Rose and the Thistle by Laura France. I already talked about this in my recent weekend reading vlog. I love this so much. Y'all already know. I'm going to try to talk a little bit more in depth about this as much as I can. This was such a great Scottish historical romance. Y'all already know how much I love Scotland and any kind of Scottish romance. I am here for it, y'all. Outlander's my favorite series. You already know. Like, if you've been here, you know. I mean, the babies are sitting right here. The Outlander books are chilling. And this is a clean Christian historical Scottish romance. And I was here for it because it's like the clean Jamie and Claire stuff going on. We have the Jacobite Rebellion. We've got the Scottish Highlands, the Lowlands. We've got the Stuarts, the castles, all the descriptions like the Scottish dialogue that I was used to from reading and watching Outlander. Like, it was such in my feels. I love this so much. Okay. 5 stars. Y'all gotta pick this up. I'm telling y'all, this was such a good book. It's my first Laura France book, and I cannot recommend it enough. If you like a good historical read, you're really gonna enjoy this because Laura just really transports you to Scotland. You feel like you're truly there in the place. Like, I felt like I was there, okay? All the details. It was just beautiful at this point. Like, I just can't say enough because all the details surrounding the political intrigue, the castles, the horseback riding, like all the stuff of what like they were doing in there, like the traveling, running about, all the things. It was great. Now, I need to tell y'all what this is. So, I'm gonna do my best because I'm just in my feels about this still. I finished this yesterday and I just can't even. So, okay, this is set in 1715 in Scotland. It's all about Lady Blythe Headley, and her dad was like this Jacobite sympathizer. He is an enemy of the British Crown. She pretty much has to flee to safety, and she ends up at Wedderburn Castle, which there's where she meets this Scottish man. Hey, we love to see it, which is, I can't say his name very good, but I'm gonna try. My Southern is hard for me to pronounce things, you already know, but I think it's Everard, and we love Everard, okay? I love this guy. He was just the perfect like Scottish man in this book. I loved his dialogue, everything about him, all the good things, okay? The romance was more towards the end. They met maybe around 100 pages in. All the things are set up in the first part of this book, but she ends up going to that castle because she needs to be protected in a way, which reminds me of Jamie protecting Claire. Oh my gosh, you already know. So I'm like fangirling about this, okay? Like, I knew this book was gonna be for me just from the synopsis, but it really was, okay? And like, y'all know we got transparency on the channel. I'm so honest here. This really was in my heart, okay? Like I said, she ends up going to the castle and he has to protect her because she is her, what was I? She is his father's goddaughter. There you go. Me trying to remember everything. I'm doing pretty good so far. It's really fresh in my mind, so I don't need my notes too much. But let me see if I'm forgetting anything. Yeah, okay. So there's a lot of political turmoil going on during this time, and it's really between Scotland and England. So we hear a lot about that, the Jacobite Rebellion, the Stuarts. You know, I mean, if you know, I already knew so much about that stuff that this just like, this is before the battle, the war in Culloden, and which is really involved in Outlander. You know, you find out a lot about the war in Culloden and all that stuff that happened with the Scots, but in here this takes place before that, before the Rising and all that stuff, like right when it's kind of getting started. And I just loved all the details surrounding that. Personally, again, that's a personal thing for me, so that's why I love that stuff so much. So take that for what it is, but it was so good. So yeah, the whole point is Everard is supposed to keep her safe and, you know, kind of keep her hidden away, and everything goes on from there, okay? So I don't know, I had a good time with this. I love that this was third person, and we had each chapter, I forgot to say that in my vlog, was like we had each chapter, there's 70 chapters or so in here in 400 pages, so they're really short. You're going back and forth between his point of view and her point of view. She's an English woman, he's a Scotsman, and they call her Sassenach, and I was like, oh, I love it. Sassenach, if you don't know what that means, it's like an English woman, an Outlander, like strange person. I don't even know how to explain it the best, but that's kind of how I always have said it. I'm probably not giving the proper definition, but hey, that's what I've always said, and we love to see it. So they say that a couple times, and just all the different dialogue in this book really just hit me in the feels. And like the romance at the end was really sweet. I was like getting emotional towards the end when some things were happening, and you're like, what's really happening? What's going on? It was easy to get through. I really liked it. Just 5 out of 5 stars. This is, it's just, the romance is just a slow burn. And we really got to know all about their family, their history, all that stuff, and how they get to know each other. And there's some really beautiful faith messages interweaved throughout the story. I really appreciated that. It just did not disappoint me at all. Like she truly transported you to Scotland in this book. And I had to have my Scottish ambience going, you already know. Like, I was like, I got the Scottish vibes, the music, all the things. And yeah, I mean, I really feel like even if you struggle with reading historical settings, that this still would be easy to get through. It'd still be a good book because I was not bored at all. Like, sometimes I get bored with some of that stuff, but like this was not. So, ending was so good. Yeah, you give me a story, 1700 Scotland, English woman, Scottish man, I'm here, okay? That's all we need to know, right? Say less at this point. So, yeah, thank you so much to Baker Publishing for sending me this to honestly read and review. I was in the launch team for this as well, and Laura is such a sweet person. And I cannot recommend this book enough. I cannot wait to read more of her books. I've got 2 more of her books to read this year, y'all. This one is probably the one I'll pick first because it really is like the Scottish vibes here too. And this one is A Heart Adrift. So both of these I'm definitely reading this year and cannot wait to get to it. She's definitely like a new favorite author at this point. I love it. And something else I really want to mention is in the back of this, it talks about her history, and she is actually a direct descendant of George Hume of Wedderburn Castle, who was exiled to the American colonies for his role in the Jacobite Rebellion. I love this. The fact that she like is a direct descendant, yes, we love to see it, Laura. So how awesome is that? And the author's note talked all about that. So I thought that was really cool, and just how she explained like setting foot at the Wedderburn Castle in the Scottish borders, that she fully realized the magnitude of what her ancestors had lost. I just love it. Gives you chills. Like, it's so important to see and look back of what happened. It says this is just, I'm such a nerd. Like, it says that her 6th great grandfather was a commander of Jacobite forces in the Jacobite Rising of 1715. Captured and imprisoned, then pardoned rather than executed, he died not long after. His son George was also captured at Preston, imprisoned at Marshallesia, and finally arrived in Georgia at the age of 23 in 1721. Like, this tells this whole story of, like, just their story from coming from Scotland. How awesome that she has that in her family, and just, I don't know, I just love that so much. Like, that connection, how great. So, I highly recommend this. Please read this book, y'all. I'm sorry I talked so long about it, but I really wanted to start off with this because it is my favorite book this month so far, and yeah, I just loved it. So, buy it. I will link the book below. Okay, get it at Baker Publishing because it's cheaper. Okay. All right, so now we're going to backtrack, okay? And I'm going to need my notes on this because it's January 15th and your girl can't remember January 1st, okay? So the first book I read this month for the readathon was Christmas in Winter Hill by Melody Carlson. And I told y'all before that Melody Carlson's kind of like a hit or miss for me, but I really enjoyed this book. I give it 4 stars. Anything that she doesn't have like this cheesy romance, that's like the main plot, I always really enjoy, y'all. It really touches my heart, just like the quilt book, okay? The romance was like a side thing. It wasn't big. I was here, you know? Same thing with this. So let me look at my notes because I can't really remember exactly like the names and stuff. Okay, transparency. Y'all already know. If you had a channel, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I cannot remember. I read so much. What are the names? Okay. Oh yeah, so this is about Krista Galloway. She has an 8-year-old daughter named Emily. They moved to Winter Hill in Washington, and her new job is to be Winter Hill's new city manager. And not everybody takes too kindly to her. Krista is recently divorced, and so she's grew up in foster homes. Christmas has never been a holiday that she loves. Something crazy and traumatic has always happened at that holiday. And so in this new place, Winter Hill is all about Christmas, okay? And she don't know how to feel about it, but she's just trying to fit right in with it, okay? Her and her daughter are trying to start anew, we'll say, in this Winter Hill place. And this just had like your heartwarming Christmas vibes. I was still feeling the vibes at the beginning of the year for Christmas, and I still want to read some Christmas books, y'all, like low-key, but like, well, I don't know. But I mean, this really was cute. I really liked it. There was like a little romance, yeah, but like it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't like that kind of cheese where it's like really, you know, you're rolling your eyes all the time. I like this mostly because we had a lot of like back and forth with her as the city manager and this guy who doesn't really care for her being there. He doesn't really think, he's kind of like a Scrooge. He's like, hey, why are you doing this? Why are you here? We don't need a city manager. We're over budget. And he doesn't really care for her being there. There's all this conflict with that. I give it 4 stars. Really liked it. And I'm definitely going to keep this on my shelf. I was trying to read through some of my Christmas books to see which ones I liked and which ones I didn't. And so this was one I decided to keep because I really liked it. And then I read Perfect World. I'm not going to spend much time on this. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, so far I have read up on this manga from Perfect World. Was it 2? Yeah, I read 2 through 9 so far this month. And I love this manga. Like, honestly, I was a little not sure last time I talked to y'all, but you've seen my vlog, you know that, like, I was all over the place with this manga. Like, it's just, we're here. I think that it's a good one to check out from the library. I don't know that I would buy it, but I still really enjoyed it. I'm not finished, of course. There's still number 10, 11, and 12 to read, but number 9, 8, and 9 were some of my favorites of there. I really liked 1, 2 was okay. 3, 4, 5, and 6 was like, I don't know. It's kind of like the 3, 3.5, 2.5, 3s, you know, they were fine. Lots of love triangle stuff going on. And yeah, I've talked a lot about this already, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the main character, he is disabled. He's in a wheelchair, and he ends up reconnecting with an old friend from high school through work. And it's just, their story is beautiful. It's the love triangle stuff I could have done without. You know what I'm saying? I get they have to write some kind of crazy stuff in with it, but that kind of stuff went on too long. But like volumes 8 and 9, oh my gosh, I love them so much. So yeah, if you're interested in reading a manga that's more about like adult characters, that's one that you could read. It does have some mild language here and there. There was a couple of the volumes that did take the Lord's name in vain that I did not like, but I think that was 6 and 7 maybe. I can't remember. I can't remember if 7 did or not. I know 6, I think 6 did, okay? Either way, I didn't love that, but like I moved past it. Really liked the story in general. So overall, I did like the main couple and everything in this. Just didn't like the love triangle stuff. So yeah, I'm always looking for a new manga. Several people have given me some recommendations, and I might check some more out as the year goes through. So yeah, finished this book I buddy read with Amy at Pretty Little Paperbacks, and we had the best time reading this together. It was so much fun chatting about each one. What I love about buddy reading novellas with friends, like a bind up with novellas, is like you can just say, hey, let's read this first one and then talk about it. Let's read the second one and then talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So like we read it over the course of 3 days, and I really had a great time with this. Let me get my notes because there was 3 here and I cannot remember exactly the names of everybody and everything. The first novella in this is A December Bride, and I give it 3.5 to 4 stars. After reading the second one and loving it so much, the first one really is like a true 3.5, but it was good. It was fine. You know how these novellas go. They're usually rushed at the end. It's fine. You can forgive it sometimes. The first novella by Denise Hunter is a Hallmark movie. What? I need to watch this. In the first one, we have a fake dating trope. It's all about Layla and Seth. Layla is trying to get her home staging business up and running, and there's some circumstances that happen where Seth gets in this situation with her where they have to pretend that they're dating and engaged, and everything goes on from there. He agrees to like let her decorate his home for this whole staging thing that she's doing for this Christmas home show. And the story kind of kicked off from there, and they get to know each other, and you already know what, you know, it's called Brides. Y'all already know. But I like this pretty good. The ending was just too rushed, and so that's why it's 3.5. And then the second one, I got 5 stars. I loved it. Deborah Rainey, Where Have I Been? Like, I don't even know in her books. So some of the books I looked up look really emotional. Y'all let me know in the comments if you read her. I did ask on Goodreads about this, and so let me know. I know y'all come in clutch with the comments. We love to see it. The second one was A January Bride, and this was all about Maddie, who is an author, and she needs a place to write because like she has some electricity problems that are happening in her home, and she doesn't have anywhere to write. She's got a manuscript due real soon. So her neighbor and friend who's like in her 80s, Jenny, has a friend, and what's his name? Arthur. So they have like a common friend. Her elderly friend, Jenny, recommends she stay at Art's house. It used to be a bed and breakfast. So she's like, hey, my friend Arthur, you can go to his house and do all this writing. Well, he ain't there. So she's there doing all this writing and all this stuff for her book and leaving notes for art. Well, guess what? He coming in, writing notes back to her. They each think, they're like writing notes back and forth, but they each think each other is elderly. But they're all within the same age. So he's writing notes to who he thinks is an elderly woman. She's writing notes to who she thinks is an elderly man. And it's just the best time. Like, I love it. They just assumed. And you're wanting them to meet so bad. You're like, I'm waiting for them to meet. Waiting for them to meet the whole time. It's just so good, okay? Definitely, I was really engaged with this because of the writing letters back and forth. And I love a good writing letters back and forth, okay? So, yeah, I really want to check out more of Deborah's books. And then the last one, Betsy, I don't know, girl. I'm sorry. I did read Tacos for Two, and I enjoyed it at the time. Looking back, I was talking to one of my friends about this. Looking back, I don't know that I would actually love it as much as I did when I read it. It's probably more like a 3-star, 3.5, than a 4 like I did, you know, now that I've read so much. But it was still good. But this novella in this book by her is called A February Bride. I give it 2 stars. It didn't make any sense. Like, it starts with this girl, I gotta look at my notes, Allie. Yeah, she left her fiance at the altar. And her fiance name, what is his name? Marcus. The whole time you're like, why did she leave? Because she's afraid to make the same mistakes as her grandparent, was it her grandmother, and her mom, and her aunt? Miss me. Like, honey, you left your fiance at the altar because you're afraid you're going to make these mistakes that your mama and them made? Mama and them. There's my Southern coming out. But, like, for real, it just didn't make sense. And it was just like, what? That's it? Like, oh, this miscommunication, and I was not here. So I won't say no more about that, but I did not like the last one. So, yeah, the first one was good. The second one was really great. And the third one was a miss. So that's like how it goes with some of these novella collections sometimes, but hey, it's fine. All right, so the next book that I read for the readathon was Living Like Chai by Bree Baker. Seaside Cafe Mystery, book number 1. I've got book 2 on the shelf. This was such a cute, cozy mystery with all the fun Southern charm. We got sweet tea, peach tea, cafe vibes, beach vibes. We love to see it. It was so much fun. I give this 4 stars. I'm looking forward to reading the next ones in the series. This is set in the town of Charm, North Carolina. We love the name, right? And it's like on the Outer Banks. And so Everly Swan is our main character. She's returned home, and her family has kind of been in the community for a long time, but she's returned home and she's kind of started up her own little business for her little cafe, and it's called Sun, Sand, and Tea Cafe. Love the name. And they sell like a variety of teas and foods and all the good things. Well, in cozy mystery fashion, all of a sudden somebody ended up dead drinking her tea, and you think he poisoned, and everything goes on from there because everybody thinks she's poisoned this guy. And it turns out to be the councilman who she's been arguing with about her not posting her ingredients of her tea in the first place. Not good. That's not a good look, Everly. So everybody thinks that she killed this man, and nobody wants to come for her tea. And there's a detective that comes in. And again, in cozy mystery fashion, we got a little budding romance starting to happen, which I really liked. And I love the recipes in the back. Y'all already know I'm going to be referring to that in the summer for some tea. Maybe in May for the Southern Readathon. We'll see. And then Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Yes, I did it. Okay, so I did read The Magician's Nephew before, but now I've read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I like this a lot better than The Magician's Nephew, I will say. So engaging. I had never read this before. Didn't even know who Aslan was or none of that stuff, okay? I'm probably not saying the name right, but didn't know anything, okay? Like, these kids getting lost in the wardrobe, going to Narnia, traveling around, getting in the middle of stuff, all this crazy stuff happening, beautiful, magical vibes. Love the Christian allegory in this as well. Aslan was my favorite character. I need to watch the movies. I ain't never watched the movies. I mean, I don't know. I need to. Like, okay. So, yeah. I don't know what else I could say. Everybody knows about this. Everybody loves this. C.S. Lewis. What else is there to say? It's just magical. Love Narnia. The whole world is just captivating. And I can't wait to read more. And the last books I'm going to talk about today are Stay With Me by Becky Wade and You and Me, okay? So these are in her Misty River series. You already know I read this last year, so I reread this for Oshina's Christian Romance Reading Challenge for 2023. And y'all, I just fell in love all over again. And I'm so glad that I reread this because I'm reading Turn to Me. I've never read it, which is Luke and Finley's story. I'm also going to buddy read that with Amy at Pretty Little Paperback, so we're really excited to read that. If you don't know what this is about Sam Turner, who finds Genevieve Woodward asleep, passed out in his little cottage on his property. It's like a secondary house, cottage thing on his land, and he knows immediately something's wrong. Ends up finding out that it's because she's passed out when she was on pills. She's addicted to oxys, and there's things in his past where he's not really too keen to want to help her and get involved, but at the same time he does kind of want to help her. And so she ends up asking him, hey, can I stay here in this cottage and can you help me get clean? And the story goes on from there. She is this big, well-known Bible study author, and so she's trying to keep all this hidden. She comes from this perfect, you know, quote, quote, perfect family, and she just wants to kind of try to do this on her own. She's tried before, can't seem to get rid of the addiction, and so he is helping her along the way, and it's just beautiful. The romance. The only rule he says is you can't fall for me. Okay, miss me with that rule because, okay, Sam, I don't know how she can abide by this because obviously he like Australian or something. The accent alone would have got me, so. So anyway, sorry, what am I doing? I'm losing it.
The only rule he says is you can't fall for me. Okay, miss me with that rule because, okay, Sam, I don't know how she can abide by this because obviously he like Australian or something. The accent alone would have got me, so.
I just really like this. So funny. The parts that are like rereading the parts with the laundry and like really into organic foods, like just all that stuff is so, it's so much fun to read. But also Becky really just ties in like a topic that is really important of drug addiction, and the romance in this is just beautiful. The faith in this is so good. She really just brings in broken characters and shows how God works in their life, and we can all really relate to these characters, and I love it so much. So yeah, if you ain't read Stay With Me, please pick it up because I've been talking about this for a year now, okay? And so I'm so glad Oshina had that as a prompt. I would not have read this, okay, again. I would not have reread it this month because I'm not much of a rereader. So girl, you forced me to reread this and I was so glad. So anyway, then we got You and Me. This was a short little novella. I give this 4 stars. It was fine. It has like this, what do they call her? Like, dating consultant. That's it. So this is all about Connor and Shay, and I'm gonna have to look at the back because my mind. Connor fell in love with Shay when they were like in 7th grade, okay? And so now they back together and everything, hanging out 16 years later, right? And so he's come back to Misty River and he tells her he likes this girl Molly, and she's like, okay. And he says, I need your help. I need your help, Shay. This is the storyline. He says, I need your help, Shay, to be my dating consultant so that you can help improve my look, my style, and all the things there, okay? And so that he can like become Molly's ideal man, okay? And he doesn't tell her that Molly is her. The story goes over there. I liked it. I laughed. I thought it was funny. I gave it 4 stars. It was a good time. Just a cute little novella, and there's Christmas vibes in this as well. The ending was really cute, and I liked it. So good. We love a good Becky Wade. You already know. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've read this month. So I've been filming for about 40 minutes. I know I'm going to cut out at least a few minutes, so sorry so long, but you all know by now. Lots of great books this month. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments below if you participated in the Readathon this month, what books you have read. Have you read any of the books I talked about? Are you interested in any of them? All the good things. Love the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye, y'all.